My name is Cynthia H. Carver, 32, had been with Blake, 29, for 2 years. We lived together in a downtown apartment I'd signed for, split rent down the middle, and shared what I thought was a partnership built on respect. I was wrong. 3 hours before tip-off on a Friday night, I stood in our kitchen, holding my phone, staring at a text from Blake that made my blood run cold. Change of plans. Danielle's having a rough week. I'm giving her your ticket tonight. You can watch from home. I reread it twice. My season tickets. Premium seats. Section 104, row 8. Seats I'd held for 5 years. Seats I paid $3,000 for annually. Seats I'd brought him to dozens of times. He was handing them to Danielle. His coworker he swore was just a friend and telling me to stay home like I was the babysitter being dismissed. I walked into the living room. He was on the couch, hairstyled, outfit sharp, wearing the jersey I'd bought him last Christmas. He didn't even look up from his phone. "Blake," I said, "are you serious right now?" He glanced up, annoyed. "What?" "The tickets. You're giving my tickets to Danielle." He sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "She's going through a breakup. She needs cheering up. Don't be selfish." I stood there silent, watching his thumbs fly across his screen. He was texting someone, smiling at the screen. I didn't need to guess who. That smile told me everything I needed to know. The tickets weren't the betrayal. They were just the proof. Blake and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party 2 years earlier. He was funny, sharp, quick to laugh. We clicked fast. Within 6 months, we'd moved in together. He worked in marketing at a tech startup downtown. I worked in commercial real estate. Long hours, but solid pay. We split everything 50-50ths. Rent, groceries, utilities. It felt fair. The season tickets were mine before we met. I'd been a fan since college. Every year, I renewed. Same seats, same section. I'd built friendships with the people around me. The old couple in row 7, the guy in row 9 who brought his kid every game. It wasn't just basketball. It was routine. It was mine. Blake came to games sometimes. He'd cheer during big plays, scroll his phone during timeouts. I didn't mind. He wasn't required to love it the way I did, but he knew what those tickets meant to me. He knew the cost. He knew the commitment. Danielle showed up about 8 months into our relationship. New hire at his company, mid-20s, fresh out of grad school, a little too friendly. Blake mentioned her casually at first. Danielle made a joke in the meeting today. Danielle brought donuts. Danielle and I grabbed lunch. I didn't think much of it. Work friendships happen. But over time, her name came up more. Weekends included late-night texts. He'd laugh at his phone and not explain. "Oh, just Danielle being Danielle," he'd say, waving me off. I asked him once gently if there was something I should know. He looked at me like I'd accused him of murder. "She's a friend." "Okay, God, you're so insecure." I let it go. I didn't want to be that girl, the paranoid girlfriend who couldn't handle her boyfriend having female friends. So I stayed quiet. I ignored the gut feeling that told me something was off. That was my first mistake. The red flags started small. A text at 11 p.m. that made him grin. A phone call he took in the bathroom. A lunch that ran 3 hours with no explanation. 2 months before the ticket incident, Danielle's name started appearing on our calendar. Dinner with Danielle and the team. Drinks after work. Danielle's organizing. Danielle's having people over Saturday. I wasn't invited to most of these. "It's a work thing," he'd say, or "you wouldn't know anyone," or "you'd be bored." One Friday, I came home early. Blake was on the couch, FaceTiming someone when I walked in. He jumped, fumbled the phone, hung up fast. "Just Danielle," he said, flustered. "Talking about a project at 10 p.m. on a Friday." "Must be some project," I said. He didn't laugh. He didn't explain. He just picked up his phone and walked into the bedroom. I started paying closer attention. His phone was always face down now. He changed his passcode, said he wanted something easier to remember. He started going to the gym more. New outfits appeared. He posted more on Instagram, always when I wasn't around. One night, I saw a notification flash on his screen while he was in the shower. Danielle's name, a photo attached. I didn't open it. I didn't touch his phone. But the preview was enough. A selfie. Her in a gym mirror, sports bra, sweat shine, a caption that read like a dare. Recovery mode. He came out of the shower, grabbed his phone without a word, and smiled at the screen. I didn't say anything, but I felt the ground shift under me. The morning of the game, Blake barely looked at me during breakfast. He was texting the whole time. Coffee going cold in front of him. At 2 p.m., 6 hours before tip-off, he dropped the bomb like it was nothing. So, change of plans for tonight. I looked up from my laptop. What do you mean? Danielle's going through a rough breakup. She's really struggling. I think it would be good for her to get out. You know, clear her head. I waited. He kept going. So I'm going to take her to the game tonight. You can watch from here. It's the same game either way, right? I stared at him. You're taking Danielle to my game using my ticket. He nodded, casual, like he'd just told me he was picking up milk. Yeah, she needs this more than you do right now. Blake, those are my season tickets. I've had them for 5 years. He rolled his eyes. Don't be dramatic. It's one game. You'll survive. I paid for those tickets. I know, he said, and I go with you all the time, so technically I'm allowed to bring someone else if I want. The logic was so twisted I almost laughed. You're allowed? Yes, he said, firm now, defensive. I'm allowed to do something nice for a friend who's hurting. Stop being selfish. Selfish. The word hit like a slap. I'd paid $3,000 for those seats. I'd invited him to every game. I'd bought him jerseys, brought him snacks, explained plays he didn't care about, and I was selfish for wanting to use my own ticket. I didn't argue. I just nodded. Okay. He blinked, surprised. Okay? Yeah, I said. Enjoy the game. He smiled, relieved, and went back to his phone. I stood there for a moment, watching him. Then I walked into the bedroom and closed the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't yell. I just closed it quietly and stood there breathing. Then I opened the closet and pulled out my duffel bag. I worked fast. Clothes, toiletries, laptop, chargers, anything that mattered. I didn't take everything, just what I needed. I packed like I was going on a business trip. Methodical, calm. From the living room, I heard him laugh at something on his phone. Then his voice, bright and flirty. I'm so excited. You're going to love these seats. I paused, duffel in hand, and cracked the bedroom door. He was standing in front of the mirror now, fixing his hair, phone propped on the counter. FaceTime call. I could see Danielle's face on the screen. He angled the phone, smiled, and his voice softened into something I hadn't heard aimed at me in a long time. Can't wait to see you tonight. He hung up, grinning at himself in the mirror. Then he picked up the tickets from the counter, held them up, and snapped a selfie. I didn't see the caption, but I could imagine it. Game night with my favorite person. I closed the door again, zipped the bag, grabbed my wallet and keys. I walked into the kitchen, set my keys to the apartment on the counter, and pulled out a sticky note from the drawer. I wrote 4 words in block letters. Enjoy your VIP. I stuck it to the fridge, grabbed my bag, and walked out. The door clicked shut behind me. He didn't hear it. He was too busy in the bathroom still taking photos. I got in my car, tossed the duffel in the back, and drove to my buddy Jason's place across town. He opened the door, saw my face, and just stepped aside. Spare room's yours, he said. I didn't explain yet. I just dropped my bag, sat on the couch, and waited. The game started at 7. By 7:15, my phone started ringing. The first call came during warm-ups. I let it ring. Then a text. Where are you? I didn't reply. Second call, 7:22. Voicemail. This isn't funny. Call me back. Third call, halftime. I stared at the screen, felt my chest stay strangely steady, and realized something with a clarity that didn't hurt the way it should have. He wasn't calling because he missed me. He was calling because he'd lost control of the version of the story where I stay home and swallow it. And I wasn't going to play that role anymore. By halftime, I finally answered. Where the hell are you? Blake's voice was shrill, panicked. The sound of someone realizing the floor they were standing on had vanished. At Jason's, I said, calm. There was a beat of silence. Then his tone snapped into disbelief. What? What do you mean at Jason's? Why are you not here? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I moved out. Another silence, heavier this time, like his brain was trying to force reality back into the shape he preferred. What do you mean you moved out? He demanded. I mean, I packed my things and left. He exhaled sharp, angry now. Are you serious right now? Over one game? I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. Not over one game, I said. Over 8 months of watching you prioritize Danielle. Over you dismissing me every time I brought it up. Over you calling me selfish for wanting respect in my own relationship. His voice cracked on the other end, trying to pull the conversation into a place where he could reframe it, soften it, excuse it. Cynthia, don't do this. We can talk about it when I get home. I didn't blink. I already did. I already left. Then he did what he always did when he felt cornered. He turned it into a character attack. "You're acting like a child." That was the line. The same kind of line he used any time I questioned him, any time I asked for clarity, any time I wanted to be treated like I mattered. "I'm not acting like anything," I said. "I'm just done. Enjoy the game." I hung up. He called back immediately. I declined. A flurry of texts followed, each one more desperate than the last. "You're overreacting. You're being dramatic. Danielle is just a friend. Fine, be a coward." I blocked his number and watched the screen go quiet. At Jason's place, I pulled out my laptop and started making a list. Lease was in my name. Utilities were in my name. Streaming services, internet, even the furniture. Half of it I'd bought before Blake ever moved in. Jason sat across from me, beer in hand, watching me type like I was closing a deal. "You good?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "I'm good." He nodded slowly, like he'd seen this kind of calm before, the kind that comes right after someone decides they're done bleeding for the same wound. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it for a second, then answered. "Hello?" "It's me," Blake said, voice shaking now, stripped of the confidence he'd had on the couch earlier. "I'm calling from Danielle's phone." I paused, letting that sit between us. "Where's Danielle?" I asked. "She's in the bathroom," he said quickly, like that detail would make this normal. "Listen, I came home. The apartment is empty. Your stuff is gone. What did you take?" "My stuff," I said. Simple, clean. He inhaled like he was about to lecture me. "The TV is gone. The couch is gone." "The TV and couch were mine," I said. "I bought them before you moved in." His voice went cold, the way it always did when he couldn't charm his way out. "You can't just take everything." "I took what was mine," I said. "Everything else is yours. Congrats. You've got the whole place to yourself now." He tried to pivot again. "You're being petty." I didn't flinch. "I'm being fair. You wanted space for Danielle. Now you've got it." He hung up on me. I smiled, not out of victory, out of relief. I opened my email and drafted a message to the landlord. Subject, lease termination notice. I didn't send it yet. I read it twice, adjusted the wording like I was negotiating a contract, then saved it to drafts. Jason watched me and shook his head slowly. "She wanted Danielle to have a good night," he said, like he couldn't believe it. "I'm just making sure Blake does too," I replied. By Sunday morning, the calls started coming from other people. Blake's best friend Megan texted me. "What the hell did you do? Blake's losing it." I didn't reply. His mom called. I let it go to voicemail. "Honey, Blake is very upset. I think you two need to talk. Whatever happened, I'm sure it can be worked out." I deleted it. Monday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Danielle. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long moment, feeling something sharp and clear rise in me. Not anger, not heartbreak, something cleaner than both. Boundaries. I typed 2 letters. No. She tried calling. I blocked her too. At work, my phone buzzed again. This time, a group text. Blake had added me to a thread with 6 of his friends. The message read, "Can you all please tell her she's being ridiculous?" I read the thread. His version of the story was predictable. I'd abandoned him over one small disagreement. He'd offered to compromise, and I'd refused to listen. Danielle wasn't mentioned by name, just a friend who needed support. One of the friends replied, "Girl, you deserve better." Another said, "People are so fragile." I took a screenshot. Then I replied once, with nothing but facts. For context, he gave my season tickets, which I pay $3,000 a year for, to another woman and told me to stay home. That's the small disagreement. Silence. I followed with one more line because I was done protecting a narrative that was never protecting me. Also, I moved out because I'm not interested in being the third wheel in my own relationship. Feel free to ask him about the 8 months of late-night FaceTimes, the selfies, and the just a friend he prioritized over me. Then I left the group chat. 10 minutes later, Megan texted me privately. "Wait, he did what?" I didn't reply, but I could feel it shifting. The story was changing shape. Not because people suddenly cared about me, but because the truth is hard to keep buried when you hand it a microphone. By Tuesday, Blake's Instagram posts started appearing. Vague, emotional captions that tried to make him the victim. Sometimes people show you who they really are. Loyalty is rare, moving on from toxicity. I didn't comment, I didn't engage, I just kept moving. I went back to the apartment while he was at work and packed the rest of what was mine. I didn't take anything that wasn't mine. I didn't want revenge, I wanted separation. I wanted clean edges. I wanted my life back without his fingerprints on it. That afternoon, I sent the email to the landlord. Lease termination notice. I requested to be removed at the end of the month. Within an hour, the landlord replied, "Confirmed. We can process this. Claire would have to cover full rent or find a roommate." I stared at the email and felt the reality settle in deeper. Blake had been so comfortable treating me like I'd always stay. Now he was going to find out what it costs when the person who keeps things stable walks away. Thursday night, Jason showed me a screenshot. Blake had posted a photo on Instagram, him and Danielle at a bar, smiling, drinks in hand. Caption: "Real ones show up when it matters." The comments were mixed, some supportive, others skeptical. One comment stood out like a blade. "Isn't this the woman from the game? LOL." Jason looked at me. "He's not even trying to hide it." I shook my head slowly. "He doesn't think he did anything wrong," I said. "That's the scary part." I nodded like I was filing it away because I was, and then I opened my banking app and checked the joint account we'd set up for shared expenses. It was empty. Every dollar gone. I took a screenshot, then I called the bank. "I need to close a joint account immediately." And that was the moment I understood this wasn't going to end with a breakup conversation and a sad playlist. This was going to turn into a fight for control, for reputation, for stability, because Blake didn't just want to be forgiven. He wanted to win. I closed the joint account, documented the withdrawal, and emailed myself the screenshots like evidence in a case file. I didn't rage text. I didn't demand explanations. I moved with intention. That night, I slept on Jason's couch and woke up calm in a way that surprised me, the kind of calm that shows up when your body finally believes you're safe. By Wednesday morning, the fallout escalated. I got an email from the ticket office. Someone had attempted to transfer my season tickets to a new account. The request was flagged and denied because the contract was in my name. I called immediately. "Did someone try to move my tickets?" "Yes, ma'am," the representative said. "A Blake Turner." He claimed he had permission. I felt a laugh rise and die in my throat. "He doesn't," I said. "We're not together." "Understood," she replied. "We've flagged the account. No transfers without your direct authorization." I thanked her and forwarded the email to myself. Another receipt. That afternoon, I came back to Jason's driveway and saw the scratch. Long, jagged, deliberate, down the entire side of my car. I took photos, then more photos, then a video. I filed a police report and gave the officer Blake's name and address. The officer raised an eyebrow. "You think your ex did this?" "I don't know," I said evenly, "but I want it documented." He nodded and wrote it down. 2 hours later, Megan texted me. "Blake didn't key your car. He was at work all day." I stared at the message and typed back once. "Then who did?" She didn't respond. I didn't need her to. That night, my phone buzzed with an email from HR at my company. Subject line, "Complaint filed." My stomach dropped, then steadied. I opened it. An anonymous complaint alleged I'd been harassing a female coworker's friend and making threats. Screenshots were attached. Messages I had never written, from a number that wasn't mine. I didn't panic. I replied with my phone records, timestamps, screenshots of the group thread, the ticket transfer attempt, the police report for my car, and a clear timeline of the breakup. HR responded within the hour. "Thank you for the documentation. We'll investigate and follow up early next week." Jason walked into this room while I was organizing the files. "You okay?" "She's trying to bury me," I said. "Is it working?" He watched me for a beat and grinned. "No, you've got receipts." I exhaled. By Sunday, the social media tone shifted. Blake's posts got darker, more accusatory. Narcissists will make you look crazy for reacting to their abuse. When you set boundaries, toxic people will try to destroy you. I didn't respond. I didn't post. I kept my head down and let the process do what it does when the truth is backed by proof. Monday morning, HR called. They'd traced the screenshots to a spoofing app. The complaint was closed. No action would be taken. The IP address had been flagged. If it happened again, they'd pursue it. I thanked them and hung up. Then I texted my lawyer. She tried to fake harassment screenshots. HR confirmed they were spoofed. Add it to the file. He replied, "Got it." The cracks started to show after that. Blake's posts slowed. The confident captions disappeared. A photo surfaced of him and Danielle at a coffee shop. No caption. Sparse comments. Jason showed me another screenshot 2 days later. Danielle had posted with someone else. New chapter. Jason raised an eyebrow. "Guess she moved on." I shrugged. "Good." That night, a new number texted me. "Can we please talk? I know I messed up. I just want to explain." I typed once. "There's nothing to explain. We're done." Please don't contact me again. She called. I blocked the number. Megan called later, voice careful. He's asking about you. Wants to know if you're seeing anyone. Tell him it's none of his business, I said. She hesitated. He thinks you left him for someone else. I laughed once, bitter and short. I left because he disrespected me. That's it. She told me he was broke, that he couldn't afford the apartment, that Danielle wasn't helping, that no one wanted to move in after everything. He made his choices, I said. I know, she replied. I just thought you should know. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. The lease termination finalized that week. The landlord confirmed I was officially off and my portion of the deposit would be returned. A new number texted me again. You left me with nothing. I replied once. I left you with exactly what you valued. Freedom to do whatever you want. Enjoy it. Then I blocked the number and closed the door on that chapter without slamming it. By the end of the month, I moved into a new place. Smaller, quieter. No shared lease, no joint accounts, no one else's name attached to anything. Jason helped me unpack, handing me boxes while making bad jokes to keep the air light. How you feeling? He asked. Good, I said, and this time I didn't have to convince myself. It was the kind of good that comes from clean boundaries and closed doors. The season tickets were still mine. The next home game, I went alone. Same section, same row. Same seats I'd renewed for years. The old couple in row 7 smiled when they saw me. Where's your boyfriend? The woman asked gently. Not around anymore, I said. She nodded like she understood more than she needed to. Well, we're glad you're here. So was I. I sat back, let the arena noise wash over me, and felt something settle. The tickets were never just about basketball. They were about respect, about not letting someone take what's yours and tell you to be grateful for the loss. I didn't check Blake's Instagram. I didn't ask about Danielle. I didn't replay the FaceTimes or the captions or the attempts to rewrite what happened. I moved forward. A month later, Megan reached out one last time. He's moving back in with his parents, she said. He can't afford the place. Okay, I replied. She waited, maybe for sympathy, maybe for regret. That's all you have to say? Yeah, I said, that's it. I hung up. That weekend, I sold the couch. The one he'd argued was half his, the one I'd bought before he moved in. I posted it online for half of what I paid and sold it in 2 hours. I took the cash and bought a ticket to a playoff game. Front row, center court. I sat there with a drink in my hand, watching the players warm up, and realized how simple the truth had been all along. Love isn't getting your way. Loyalty isn't accepting disrespect. And walking away isn't weakness when staying costs you yourself. A few months later, I ran into one of Blake's co-workers at a coffee shop. She recognized me, waved, came over. I'm sorry about everything, she said. For what it's worth, everyone at the office knows what really went down. Danielle got moved to a different team after things blew up. Blake left the company last month. I nodded. I hope he's okay, I said, and meant it in the distant human way you hope for a stranger's weather to clear. She smiled. You're a good person. I didn't argue. I finished my coffee, walked home, and let my phone buzz once in my pocket. A text from Jason. Playoff tickets go on sale tomorrow. You in? I smiled and typed back. Always. No grand finale, no revenge arc. Just me, my season tickets, and the quiet satisfaction of choosing myself when it mattered. I didn't need to prove anything. I just needed to be free, and I was.